So when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, it was only a matter of time before we got new rides, but not only that, before we got a whole new park devoted to Star Wars. And thus, Galaxy's Edge was born. But what was the history leading up to Galaxy's Edge inside the park? And how did these two juggernauts in Disney and Star Wars come together? I mean, as a retro themed show, I think I'd rather dig into that. So it all started back in 1979 when Disney's The Black Hole movie was supposed to be turned into an interactive ride at Disneyland and was supposed to have been the first interactive ride where riders got to choose the adventure they went on. Sound familiar? The idea was shelved by Disney's Imagineering because of the enormous $50 million budget, which in today's money is simply the catering bill on a Marvel film. So fast forward. The year is 1985. So 6 years would go by, and the success of Star Wars would skyrocket into legendary status. And with movies like Indiana Jones and special effects studio ILM, that would turn George Lucas into a movie-producing juggernaut. I mean, just forget about Howard the Duck.
No more Mr. Nice Duck.
And it was this status as a producer and storyteller that would bring Michael Jackson to George Lucas. So Michael had been approached by Disney Imagineering to do a project that would bring 3D movie making with in-person effects. Ultimately, it would be the first 4D movie interactive experience. Michael and Disney's first call was to the one and only George Lucas. George Lucas brought together a team of filmmakers led by Godfather director Francis Ford Coppola and a score by James Horner, who would also do the Titanic soundtrack later on in his career. It was a story based on an idea from the Imagineering team where a space crew was supposed to deliver a message of love to a planet who has been taken over by an evil queen ruler. Michael Jackson wrote all the songs and obviously performed as well. This was at the height of Michael's popularity, and Captain EO was a smash hit at the Disneyland park. With the combination of story, music, dance, and groundbreaking special effects and 3D filmmaking, it was the most popular attraction at Disneyland, being the must-see attraction when it opened in 1986 at the Kodak Theater in Disneyland, Anaheim. And doesn't Hooter look like Max Rebo? So after the success of Captain EO, Disney approached Lucas to collaborate on the next big thing. And yes, it was Star Tours. So where Star Tours is today used to be Adventure Through Inner Space, where guests would be transported on carts called People Movers and shrunk down to a molecular size and into inner space. But going all the way back to 1979, Disney Imagineers wanted to bring back the idea from the Black Hole, where the audience could go on different interactive adventure stories every time they rode the ride. So the idea of being a guest and transported via Star Tour shuttle and getting sucked into the battle between the Empire and the Rebellion was born. But using 3D technology and the use of simulated movement that was invented for the military and NASA space missions, the first pilot for Star Tours is the now retired RX-24 and was voiced by none other than Paul Reubens, who was more famous for his alter ego, Pee Wee Herman.
I meant to do that. A little shortcut. R2, light speed to Endor!
But after a small controversy with Reubens, his character was replaced with C-3PO, and the ride was also revamped to include more stories, better simulation technology, and improved 3D technology. So, that is the small history of how the juggernauts between Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Disney really came together way back in the beginning. And also let me know in the chat if you knew about that story. So if you found this episode enjoyable, hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can follow the journey. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I'll see you next time. If you're new to the channel, check out the welcome video or just check out the next episode. And please subscribe if you want to follow the journey. And remember, there is no shame in being a Padawan.